I'm going to cut the base of my box first. It's quite a simple shape with score lines. So I'm just going to press continue, select medium cardstock. So with the Venture, Design Space will give you instructions on the screen. And if you click on the instructions, it'll give you a little video showing you exactly what's to be done. So my blade is already inserted in clamp B. I'm inserting my stylus in clamp A. So this is position 1. I'm moving this over to position 2 to allow me to use the larger mat. It's going to tell me to raise these little guides on the right hand side. The one in the center is flat. The one on the left hand side is raised as well. And then it's prompting me to press the mat support button, and this is what happens when I do that. So I have the mat support arms that rotate into place, and I have these little tiny tabs that pop up, and these are to support my mat. When you're inserting your mat, it's important to get your mat behind these little guides on both sides. And then I'm going to lower the lever. So next I just press the go button as I do for all the machines. So when it's done, I just raise this and remove my mat. I have my mat face down on my working surface, and I'm just peeling my cardstock away from the mat. Next I'm cutting acetate, so I'm going to use my green mat for this one. I only have 12 by 12 acetate sheets. This is Cricut foil acetate, and so I've put 2 mats on the top and 1 on the bottom, and now I'm going to set them to cut. So these are the assembly instructions for my box within a box that is cut on my Venture, and it's most definitely Venture size. So there are 4 rectangular boxes in the file, and this is the base piece. I'm just folding down on all the score lines. Now that I've folded down on all the score lines, I have the embellishing layers. So I have the 2 panels for the side. So these aren't square, they're actually rectangular. So I'm just making sure to put them down in the right direction. I have my 2 frame panels for my lid. And then I have my 3 rectangular panels. One of them is shorter than the 2 others. I'm going to put that one aside for later. And the 2 other panels go on the sides. And then there's my arrow-shaped piece. So I'm going to start with the acetate window that's in my lid. So I'm just going to flip my piece over so that I'm looking at the inside of my box. I've got my piece of acetate. I'm removing the protective liner. Since I'm gluing this down on the inside of the box, I want the pretty side to be downwards. Putting double-sided tape around the perimeter. I'm just removing the liner on my red line tape. I'm adhering my acetate so that it covers the opening, and there's approximately an even border around all 4 edges. Then I'm going to take one of my frames, and I'm just applying red line tape around the perimeter of it. I'm removing the backing on my red line tape. On the top, I'm just putting glue all over the edge, like so. And then I'm positioning my piece so that it covers, and I'm just looking on the other side just to make sure it's pretty much where I want it to be. And I'm releasing the rest of the red line tape on the 3 other sides. I'm carefully lowering it down like so. I have my second frame. I'm putting glue all over it, and then I'm flipping my piece over and gluing my second frame over the opening. Next I have my decorative panels, and I'm just going to glue them down, trying to maintain an even border all the way around. So now that the exterior of my box has been decorated, I'm going to flip my box over again, and I have the acetate away from me, so I'm putting glue on 2 of those bottom tabs. And then I'm lifting up my front panel, lifting up my side panels. I want to make sure that the cut edge of my front panel is right up against the score line of my tab. And I'm doing that on both sides. I'm going to carefully put those sides down on the mat and just apply pressure to spread my glue. So now I'm going to turn my box around. I have those 2 other tabs. I'm going to put glue all over them. And then I'm going to raise up my front panel. Make sure that the long panel is right up against the score line of my tab on both sides. And then again, I'm going in with my bone folder and just applying a little bit of pressure. I've made 2 rectangular boxes. I need to make 2 more, and they go together the exact same way. This is the assembly of my box that's in the center. So now I'm just going to decorate the panels of my box while it's still flat. So I have 8 panels, and I'm just going to glue them down so that there's approximately an even border all the way around on each panel. Now that I've decorated the outside of my octagonal box, I'm going to put glue on one of the side tabs. It doesn't matter which one. And then I'm going to bring the neighboring side up to it. I want the cut edge of my side to be right along the score line for my tab. And then I flip my piece over. I just spread all that glue with my bone folder. I'm just going to go around and do that with all 8 tabs. So that's the base of my box done. Now we're going to work on the lid. I'm just folding down on all the score lines for the piece for the lid. I'm going to flip my piece over so that I'm looking at the interior. And I have this piece of acetate. Since this is the inside of the box, I'm going to be gluing it with the pretty side down. I'm just adding red line tape to the perimeter of my octagon. So now I'm going to release the backing on my red line tape. So I'm going to try to center it over that opening, like so. So I'm just putting red line tape on the back of my octagon. And then I'm positioning it over the opening, and then I'm going to flip my piece over and then put glue on the second frame, and then I'm positioning my second one over the opening like so. So next I'm choosing one of the tabs and I'm putting glue all over it, and I'm bringing the neighboring panel right up to the tab. So I want the cut line right against the score line, and I'm going to do that with all 8 triangles. And then I'm going to go fold those flaps away from the center of my shape, and I'm just going to put glue on every single one of them and turn them inwards, and then reinforce that with my bone folder. This is my bottom piece or pieces. I have folded down on the score lines, and then I have my center piece. I'm going to use some Beacon 3-in-1. I'm putting it on the underside of my decorative piece, and then I'm going to do my best to center it. Although there's a score line in the center telling me where to put my box, I'm not going to rely on that score line as much as I'm going to rely on the placement of my rectangular boxes. So here are the 4 boxes, and I'm placing them so that the window is on the top and all 4 flaps are facing towards the center. I'm going to put glue on each of these panels. I have my flap, and I'm just placing my box right on that white rectangle. I'm folding the box over, making sure that it fits nicely over that center panel. It has to be flush on this side, and it has to be folded right up against the score line. I'm going to do that with all of my boxes. Now you could use art glitter glue for this. I just decided to use Beacon 3-in-1 because it takes a little bit longer to dry. I have a little bit more wiggle room to position my boxes where I need them. My flap is towards the center of the box. So now I have my center box with its lid. It's going to go right in the center like so. So I'm taking the lid off for now. I'm looking for that score line. I'm putting glue on the bottom of my box, right on those score lines. Then I'm putting the lid back on, closing my other 4 boxes, and make sure everything fits. I'm going to take the lid off and just spread all that glue. Then I have these cute little Velcro closures. I'm going to glue 1/2 of my Velcro at the point of my box like so. And the other piece gets adhered on the box itself. And I'm going to do that for all 4 boxes. So this is the lid for my set of boxes. I'm going to fold on the score lines. I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to fold up in one direction right on that score line. And then I'm going to fold down in the opposite direction where I actually want it to fold. And I'm going to do that for all the score lines on my lid. So now I have my decorative edges, I have the 4 sides and the top. I'm just going to glue those down, trying to keep an even border all the way around. So now that I've covered the lid, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to put glue on the corner tabs, folding that side in at a 90 degree, and then I'm pulling. I want the cut edge of one side to be right against the score line of the tab. I'm going in with my bone folder and just spreading the glue. And I'm going to do that with all 4 corners. So next I'm going to pull these flaps away from the center of my box, and I'm going to cover each one of them with glue and then fold them to the interior. And then I'm using my bone folder again and just spreading all of that glue. And I'm doing that for all 4 sides. We're back to the base of my box, and I'm just putting the lid on. I've already cut 4 of those same colors. I'm just going to match them up. On the box end, for instance, that has the orange, I'm going to glue the orange one down beside it. Even though the top color is yellow, I'm going to glue the orange down to coordinate with the color beside it. And I'm going to do that all around for all 4 colors. The bottom of my box isn't very sturdy, so I have a piece of cardboard. It's actually cardboard from one of my Cricut shipments. I found myself a piece of old poster board, and I cut that out on my machine, and then I'm laying it on top of my cardboard and using it as a template to cut my cardboard to size. So I put my Cricut ruler right on the edge of my poster board, and I have my True Control knife, and I'm just cutting right along the edge of my ruler and get a nice clean cut. So I'm going to do that for all 4 sides. And so then I have my corner pieces, so these little triangles. I'm just gonna wrap my corners of my cardboard. I'm gonna put glue in a right angle triangle shape right at the corner of my cardboard. And then I'm gonna place my triangle just over that glue like so. And I'm gonna flip my piece over. I have my stylus, and I'm running my stylus just along the edges, fold down on that top one. I'm just using my bone folder, folding over the flap at the side as well. And then I'm just putting glue on the corner in a triangular shape, folding that corner piece over onto my cardstock like so. I'm using my stylus again, create score lines on the fold, and then I'm going to fold both of these over and glue them down. Folding top one down, folding the bottom one over, and then just smoothing out the edges of my bone folder. So I'm just going around and doing the 4 corners the exact same way. So now that I've wrapped my 4 corners, I'm going to take these 4 rectangular pieces. I'm just putting glue along the edge of my board. I'm putting glue along the edge of my piece as well. So just about 3/4 of an inch in from the edge. And I'm just placing, I want approximately an equal amount from the top and the bottom. And then I'm going to flip my piece over, run my stylus along the edge. I'm going to put glue along the edge. And then I'm just going to use the edge of my piece, ease it on over that fold. Just make sure the edge is nice and straight. Just going to do that for all 4. So now that I've glued my edges over, I have this piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to glue it on top. I'm just going to use my brayer. So now you could just use glue and glue this to the bottom of your box, but I'm going to use foam tape. So I have my box with its lid on. I'm going to flip it so that I'm looking at the underside of it. I'm just removing the liner on my foam tape, and then I'm going to glue it to the bottom of my box. So next I have the decorative design for the top of my box. I have this piece of white cardstock, and I have all my score lines to show me where to place all my pieces. I have a picture of my Design Space canvas, and I'm just going to follow the colors the way that I have them. 4 of my cutouts are taller than the others, and I'm just going to lay them down a little bit like a mosaic and then just glue them down. So now that I've decorated that top piece, I'm going to put glue on the back of it, and I'm just gluing it to the top of my box.